All right, we want to welcome on a very special guest. He is a national champion and a former North Carolina Tar Heel on the heels, no pun intended, of Duke, North Carolina on Saturday. It's Tyler Hansbrough. Tyler, thank you for joining us. First thing I got to ask, Duke, North Carolina, first thing that comes to mind. What is it?
For me, probably winning there my freshman year. Probably one of my. It's probably my favorite win outside of winning it in Detroit when they had Reddick and Sheldon.
It's seriously painful to watch.
Where's your shirt?
It's painful to have him on the screen.
You're talking to a diehard Duke fan.
Yeah, I've talked to him. It's when I see your face, it's just those eyes. First of all, people call it like Psycho T. We have a Psycho T right here next to me. I think you guys should talk about that for a second. But you just were just the epitome of just fuck you, because every time. But you also embrace that, no? Like during these moments and during the Duke UNC, like you also didn't you beat Duke like 6 times during your career?
Yeah, we were. We went 4-0 in Cameron, and then we won 2 at home. We split it 2 and 4 at home. But the rivalry, when you hear Duke and North Carolina, that's what it's about. And usually, I caught a lot of heat in my college career, and I did like to get. I like the trash talk too, but it's usually the Duke players that everyone's always, yelling at and giving a hard time.
That they always are, and that's why I was texting before. Like I wanted to go through because everyone will say like you were like kind of Duke gets the most hate. You're right, but you kind of got some shit too. But who would be your top 5 hated Duke players?
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's got to have Grayson Allen up there.
I think he's a fine player. He just has some leg spasms and trips people on accident.
He's got to be really bad if he didn't even play against them.
Grayson Allen for sure. You got to have JJ Redick in there. What he did in college, he was super good. But he's another one of those guys that really like to hear it from the crowd. And in a way, he kind of egged it on a little bit. But then you have Leitner. Who really likes Leitner outside of a Duke fan?
I love him.
Maybe his family. Then you have Paulus, Greg Paulus. I would say was one of those guys that people just kind of didn't really like. And then obviously for me it would be Gerald Henderson. Being in my time and seeing what he went through after the cheap shot, that would definitely be my list.
Yeah, it's tough. So I'm the same age as you. So I was a Duke fan. Honestly, I think that's kind of where I got skewed is you go on 3-time All-American, national championship, and Greg Paulus is a walking turnover. So, to see that, I think that time in history for a while kind of skewed it. I know they won, obviously, right after you left, but, those 4 years, it really seemed like no matter what, you had Duke's number.
Yeah, we weren't – our freshman year, we weren't as talented as they were, but we competed hard. And I think we kind of caught them on an off night in Cameron. But once Ty, Wayne, and, some of these other guys started evolving, we were a really talented team my years at UNC. We were tough to beat, and especially I think Ty got it going in Cameron one year and really got us a dub. But, yeah, we were definitely, I feel like we were the more talented team 3 of the 4 years.
And I have a number to back that up. 4-0 at Cameron Indoor Stadium, Marty. I'm sure you're happy to hear that. But the game, obviously, Coach K's finale this weekend there. Just going 4-0 in that building with Coach K on the opposite sideline, that's got to be, aside from your championships, one of the most things you're proud of from your college hoops career, right?
Yeah. I will say it's one of the, if not the best, it's one of the best places to play. It's got the DJ, the fans, they get into it, and then the hype. But going 4-0 in there, it was great. To be honest, after we won, I was ready to get back to campus. Because that's where the celebration really happens. That's half the reason, to be honest, why the wins are so fun is because come back and celebrate with all the students back in campus. But no, it was great winning 4 years in a row there.
The Duke student section gets a lot of flack. Like you see those memes, like they're ugly and like they're fucking like they're corny sometimes with the chants. Were there any like what goes into a good? And you've obviously played in the ACC, which has a rabid fan base, like big time basketball in North Carolina. Was there any point at any of the Duke students that like you were like, that was pretty good, or was it like what goes into a good student section as far as being clever or like really getting into it? I know like Reddick was talking about getting called the cell phones. Like what's good and what's too far?
Too far. Well, I think Duke fans in particular, they're pretty smart. I mean, there's a reason they're in Duke.
Yep. Like myself.
Well,
He did not go to Duke. Don't let him fool you. He probably wouldn't fool you, but
Took an online class.
But I would say, Duke always had something clever and kind of funny to say. They never crossed the line. Duke didn't. Let me see here. I used to get stretched before the game, and me and the strength coach, Jonas Ration, were real tight. So we had a pregame routine, and there were a ton of different stretches. And for one of the stretches, we had to use a score table to stretch out my quad. So I had to lay on my stomach, and it got in a weird position. And the crowd starts chanting "Use protection," and we thought that was pretty fun. Thought that was funny. Let me see here. The Shaw May, where they put a cheeseburger on like a fishing pole and like threw it out there and then reeled it back in. That was really funny as well. Let's see here. But Duke's really clever. They're funny too, and it's a great atmosphere. Not to give them too much credit, but there's a bunch of like Florida State is extremely difficult. They might cross the line a little bit. NC State might cross the line. And definitely 100% Maryland crosses the line. So in the ACC,
For sure.
I'm not even sure. I'm not sure how much Maryland how many sober fans they had when we played them in the arena. But
Well, it was back when they were relevant. Now they're drinking for a different reason.
that was when they had Grievous back then. Grievous
Yeah.
But I mean Duke's. I mean they're funny and clever.
So what's like? So I actually do think like Duke UNC is the best rivalry in sports. It's 15 minutes away, whatever it is, and these students are camping out for weeks and weeks for just to watch you guys play. So like, what was your favorite moment in a Duke UNC game?
Favorite moment for me. In the whole rivalry, I would say my senior night when we pretty much secured a win. I actually fouled out that game, but I remember going to the free throw line when the game was pretty much in our hands, and I just raising my hands up in the air because it felt really good. I mean, senior night, there's a lot of pressure to win. And, our whole freshman class, I kind of feel like, that talented of a group, they don't really stay in college 4 years anymore. So we were a rare breed, and we had a lot of talent. Danny Green, myself, and those kind of went 4 years. And then so, that moment was really good to me. But also the Danny Green, when he dunked on Paulus, posterized him, that one comes to my mind. I was right there. I had a front row. I was on the fast break. And then let's see, when else? For me, it would have been Bobby Frazier, my roommate in college, had a big night in Cameron. He kind of was kind of having a quiet year, and then all of a sudden explodes in Cameron. And then my top of the key three is something. Those are all kind of memories that jumped in my mind. My freshman year, the top of the key three.
The what you said too, like there's not many people that stay 4 years anymore, right? And during your time, there was people staying 4 years, and I think that's also what hyped up the rivalry a lot more as well, right? Because you kind of end up almost really like hating each other even more because it's already set in place, and two, it's like really like fuck these guys, and now it's one and done. Like, do you agree with that?
100%. I mean, you look at JJ Redick, he stayed 4 years, and then you look at how he kind of evolved as a player, and then all of a sudden fans start to feel attached, and they start to become a leader, and so they represent Duke. I mean, for that little bit, I remember my freshman year when JJ came into the Dean Dome and lit us up. It was like he was kind of that trash talker that came and brought it, and he developed into that, and I think fans become attached to that. I would say, Grayson stayed a good amount, and so fans start to pick out a player, and they're like, you saw all the debacle with Grayson, and now fans love to hate Grayson. And then you talk about Gerald Henderson, even though he didn't stay 4 years, what we went through in our incident, fans didn't like him.
We talked to Adam Morrison about that, like, briefly. He says, and I'm interested to see if you agree with it, was college basketball bigger back then? I know, obviously, like, it's more accessible now with the streaming services, but you talk about, like, guys, like, you were the identity of North Carolina. Scotty Reynolds was the identity of Villanova, like Greg Paulus, identity of Duke. Like, it's starting to see where it's a lot of turnover. Like, was it bigger back then?
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. I mean, you talk about, I'm thinking of all the kind of marquee players in college basketball that everyone kind of remembers that may not went on and had the professional career. But, yeah, you talk about, like, guys who, fans really grew attached to. And also you get to see development of players. I mean, your freshman year compared to your senior year, you have guys so much development and, guys' bodies change and become more athletic. My thought at one point was like these mid-majors are becoming much more relevant because they get those guys that can stay for 4 years and they really develop them. And by the time they're a senior, they become a really good player. And, the tournament has gotten much more unpredictable. Like UCLA last year, they played the play-in game, and all of a sudden they're in the Final Four. But, yeah, I do think that it's lost a little bit of its, its excitement, not seen as, the 4-year guys like we used to. But, everything is kind of evolved now. So we'll see where it goes.
And you bring up the Henderson incident. Obviously, I want to talk about that. I mean, I think you bled too much on your own. It's your fault. No, but seriously, what went in with that? Like, so you guys are up. I think you were up like 15 or something with like a couple, like 20 seconds left, and he just straight up elbowed you in the face.
It was one of those things. I was at the free throw line. The game was probably, I'm not sure if it was out of hand or what. It was, we probably were going to win that one. Odds were in our favor. I got my rebound off a free throw, and, I'm not sure if there was a timeout before, but to me, there comes a point where I'm not sure if this went on or not. This is speculation, but, sometimes when you have a huddle and you're down, no layups, no easy buckets, whatever it takes, blah, blah, blah. And, I think Duke does that. I mean, they're the team that does the player huddles and everyone's slapping and, all that stuff. So I could see him really buying into something like that. And he came out, it was a cheap shot. It was a cheap elbow right to my face. Dirty play, no other way to put it. And I remember when it happened, at first, I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew I was bleeding everywhere. And when I got up, I was going to go after, I think it was DeMarcus Nelson, and which would have been a mistake because obviously he didn't elbow me. But, later on I found out it was Gerald. And, I was pretty upset. I was pissed. And if you ask me, well, it was a dirty play. I mean, there's no way to put it. Me and Gerald talked about it, and, it's totally over. But at the same time, that was really dirty.
A Duke player with a dirty play? What?
They have spasms. They're fucking sometimes these doctors they don't get the right spots and they have spasms.
Grayson Allen just stretching his legs under the hoop all these times.
Leg spasm, elbow spasms.
What was Krzyzewski's take from that? Did he go to apologize for that? It's been a while, but like now I guess it's kind of two-part because Krzyzewski now anytime it feels like he's a bitter old man. Obviously he's an all-time great, but anybody does something like the kid was clapping for who was that Georgia Tech a couple of weeks ago and he goes after him. Or which game? Either way.
Duke and Clemson, where you pushed them?
No. He went after him then, but the kid was clapping and he was chasing him after. Yeah. Either way. Like Krzyzewski, if you do something wrong to Krzyzewski, he's very quick to enforce the law. I'm interested to see, like, did he own that one or he was like kind of like a soccer mom, like, oh, not my kid?
So Krzyzewski, I saw you talking about the Clemson. You mentioned it, talking about the Clemson where one of his players got under. I mean, it was a dirty play. I mean, we all know dirty plays. Yeah. And I saw Kay walk out on the court, and for a little bit, I thought he was going to go over to the bench and say something to the coaching staff or whatever. And I was wondering when I got drilled in my face, how he would have handled it if Coach Williams would have went down there on the other end and said something to their bench. But after the game in the press conference, he said that the real victim was Gerald Henderson. And to me, in my mind, I mean, that was about as dumbest thing as you could say right there. And that was kind of like that pissed me off a lot more, to be honest with you. And I didn't think that was, I was pretty upset. I was a young kid too, just got my face bashed in. Yeah, that was messed up. But we're over that.
Did he ever personally rectify, like at an after-season awards dinner or at the Final Four, or he saw you at an NBA game? Like, did he ever say, "Hey, I fucked that up," or he just kind of was like hoping you would let it go?
Man, I don't think I would have been real receptive of an apology back then. That's not how I was. I wouldn't have been like, "Yeah, it's all good." No, I wouldn't have been like, "All right," or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. I'm not sure I would have accepted his apology.
Yeah, I mean, you literally got the name Psycho T. I wouldn't apologize to him.
No, absolutely. But he said he's over it. It's interesting that he never really apologized. Like,
did you like that nickname?
I did, but man, off the court, man, I'm a pretty low key, kind of quiet dude. But I definitely had some interesting interactions with fans who would come and catch me on the street thinking I was crazy. But no, I mean. I like the name, but sometimes it was a little faded.
Like, I'm not actually a psycho. Like, he's a psychopath, like, actually, but you're not. Like, I could tell you're a normal human being, but yeah, that's. But I think also, like, it kind of works with also, like, the aura of you in college basketball. It's just like everyone, if you know anything about college basketball, even though I hated you, like Tyler Hansbrough, it's like you. So I think the nickname kind of almost. It's cool for you for that reason. The personal life probably sucks.
No, I liked it. I liked it from the aspect that fans, they were attached to it and they liked it and caught on. No, I like that for sure. But, sometimes it gave people a false sense of who I really was, which, I didn't really care.
Just annoying a little bit, yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So we're in the beginning of March right now, ending the regular season. In 2009, when you guys won it all, you were on the road for a few weeks, right? All the way to the Final Four. I believe it was at Detroit, right?
Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah. So you're on the road for a while. What advice would you give to a player who's about to enter a lot of travel? A player who's going to play in the Final Four will be on the road for 3 weeks. How is that different? Because you obviously don't do that throughout the regular season.
For me, I would say the best advice you can get is stay within the team. I mean, it's you got 3 weeks to be committed to a goal that you've worked for a long period of time. So right now is not the time to be slipping or listening to outside voices. Stay committed to the game plan and be prepared. That's the best advice. I mean, you can't think about, I'm going to be on the road for 3 weeks because then your mind starts buying into that you're going to be tired and stuff like that. You just got to go out there and get the job done.
The only outside voices they should listen to is this podcast, though, of course, previewing their game.
Exactly.
I was interested actually in that 09 run. I guess it's 2 parts. You guys breezed through the tournament. You were a favorite. Like even as a Duke fan, there was no doubt in my mind Carolina's winning it, right? So I guess 2 parts. Was that the most confident you've ever felt as a team? And secondly, who did you think, like, when you looked at the bracket or that season, like watching the scroll, watching game film, you're like, hey, they might be able to give us a run? Because there were 2 teams that year that I thought had a shot and didn't get there.
There was nobody. I mean, we could play at 90. Nobody was going to beat us. Yeah. There was no team out there that worried me one bit. The only thing that concerned me is if we just didn't show up and beat ourselves. I wasn't worried. In 09, after what we went through the year before, getting smacked by Kansas, we were winning that thing if we showed up. Who were those 2 teams?
Pitt and UConn. I was very good friends with Pitt's point guard, and I was kind of rooting to at least
relationships.
At least, I thought they could have given you a shot with DeJuan Blair. I was interested, but you were right. Like, you guys were head and shoulders above everybody. So the fact that you don't even have anybody on your radar speaks to how good that team was. It really does.
Well, Pittsburgh, they had DeJuan Blair, they had Sam Young that year. Then the point guard, I forgot his name.
Levance Fields.
Yeah, they were pretty talented. I was kind of surprised they didn't get to the Final Four, to be quite honest. And then UConn had A.J. Price, Hashim Thabit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who else, but they were pretty talented too. But I think I was actually shocked Michigan State got there to the finals. But being in Detroit, I think that helped them a lot, and kind of what Detroit was going through with the car whole thing. They were going to, save the car industry during that time. But we had played Detroit a few months prior and just smacked them in Detroit. So I wasn't too worried about them either.
We know the game is Saturday night. We know you're pulling for one team.
Wait, who won the last one? I missed the last one.
Be realistic with us. Do you guys have a real shot to pull it off on Saturday?
Yeah, we can win. I mean, we're a much different team now than we were when we played them in the Smith Center. And I think when you get smacked like we did in the Smith Center, I think kids start to, work harder and refocus. I hope that's what we're doing. But, I don't think Duke's unbeatable. But, I mean, they definitely, if you ask me who's more talented, I would say Duke. But I don't think they're capable of just rolling in there and not being beat.
Makes a great point. What I was going to say, I think that I'm going to tell you this right now. If UNC even loses by less than 10 or wins, I will buy a Tyler Hansbrough UNC jersey and wear it. But if Duke wins by more than 10, you got to at least just tweet out, be like, Marty Mush was right about Duke.
That's a deal.
All right.
I'll do that.
Deal.
Deal.
We got that then.
So the spread is 10.
So the spread is 10.
It probably will be around. It'll probably be like 12.
I don't know. I don't know.
Duke last game.
I don't know, but we're going with 10, and
All right.
that's all. That's the bet.
All right.
That will kill me to wear that damn thing.
When do you have to wear it?
I'll order it right after the game, whenever I get it.
ACC tournament or something?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tyler, we really appreciate the time. Final score prediction Saturday, quickly.
Ooh, let's go 78 to I'll go 73 UNC.
I'm gonna throw up.
There it is. Marty will be wearing
can't
your
get hot from
jersey
three.
if that happens. Tyler Hansbrough, national champion, former Tar Heel. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Y'all
Thanks
take
a
care.
lot.